What's up, guys? Welcome to Artie's Kooky Music Party. And today, I don't really have. I mean, I do have a guest. I have my boy Oscar here.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yeah, but this isn't like. I guess this is the. I'm gonna go ahead and be a little narcissistic, a little egomaniac, and make it a little about me, because I do some music stuff and I'd like to share it with y'all and whatnot.
A man's gotta flex sometimes,
Yeah, I mean, speaking of which, the first, I guess, a little plug for myself is my newest single, "The Enlightened Crackpot," is now out on all major streaming platforms, basically. And
Let's go.
Yeah, I'll be leaving links to all that in the description.
All right. Well, so this newer song, how long do you think it took you to make or to come up with? Was it like an on-spot thing?
Honestly, it was because it was the first song I ever did, where I was writing and recording. If that makes I wrote the majority, what I call the bones of a song, a chorus and verses and just different things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just recorded that, and I don't know, it was really interesting to be able to be mixing and writing at the same time, because in a way, it led to, it just kind of rather than me, writing another bridge or whatever, I just kind of I was like, oh, let me do something with the chorus, but something different.
That's real cool. It's real cool. Tell us about it. What's it about? What's it about? What's the whole the vibe? What's the
vibe? Okay, so it's called "The Enlightened Crackpot." For the it's I guess like one of those character type things. Enlightened Crackpot is a person who holds many different beliefs that are just crackpot ideals and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Being a flat earther and thinking that Thomas Edison was a witch and this and that. Yeah, so it's just I guess not take too seriously. Yeah. Oh, I don't take all myself, but have a more fun. If you want to get hip with the kids and say more of a meme type approach, because I was definitely influenced by that type of culture. For example, the main riff, the first four notes are the same as the same four notes as Megalovania
from Undertale.
Yeah. I just always really like that hook. It really sticks.
It's a classic. You know the best thing about that hook is you can hear the first note and immediately know what it is. It's kind of like the Black Parade by MCR. You just hear the first note and that's all you gotta hear.
You hear that G or you hear that? I think it's a D. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. There's this you've heard of perfect pitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, most people, music type people, have it to a weird way, and mostly just songs that musician is really familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
They start to really internalize the key,
and
so it's just crazy how literally it's not even the key. It's actually more about memorizing the timbre of that specific note. Every time I think about the Undertale, that da-da-da, I hear that chip tune or that kind of that 8-bit type sound it has.
Yeah.
Because they're really, and with that kind of timbral information, I also get the pitch as well. I'm not sure if I got it that time, but I can hear it pretty distinctly. And it's exactly. Actually, it's all right here. Yo, see?
That was I mean, I wish I had that. Sadly, I do not. I can, if you tell me a note, I can probably play it back to you in 20 minutes, but after that, no clue.
Well, it's about internalizing that he who monkey type stuff.
He who monkey brain go big.
Yeah. It's and the same thing with that G from My Chemical Romance and all that stuff. But yeah, I just sprinkling those kind of things throughout the song. Another thing is just I also I guess more planned out, because for the most part, my lyrics from my other songs are honestly just a sort of stream of conscious for the most part.
Yeah.
But these ones, I really I was thinking about internal rhyme and all that jazz that you learn about in English and think you'll forget, but sometimes it makes its way back out.
So you've noticed that all your stories are always either telling a story or, I guess, reflecting. And it's nice to see like another side of that reflection. You get to see the fun side of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was going for, because like it's like I like making sad songs, because not to wallow in pity, but it's just like a nice little almost therapeutic type thing. But some hee hee ha ha's are
you always need a good hee hee ha ha. For sure. And the cool thing about this song, which I already, you already gave me a little play earlier. It's really upbeat, and I really like that. It's like upbeat, it's really like energetic. I like it. I feel like I could dance to it almost.
Yeah,
nice.
I was, and from a stylistic approach, I was really, really leaning into that old, like almost Americana type sound, because for me that like there's this sound that I'm always going for that's like can be described like generally like 40s to 80s type thing, where like it, for example, like the chord progression of that song Earth Angel, like dum da da dum 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 Earth Angel, like that they're really I don't know why, I just like it's such a simple thing that repeats, but I don't know, it's just so satisfying. I love it so much, and especially just like this is also one of the few times I was able to really just like think about the melody and how it pertains to the chords that I'm singing or that I'm playing, and it just like it came to that old like almost like I'm thinking like saloon type
saloon type beat.
Yeah,
And I like that. I like this. I love the sound you came up with this one. Like that you came on with this one, because I feel like I wouldn't say it's different from your other ones, but it's definitely like pop. It definitely pops out. Like if I started listening to your other songs, then I heard this one, I would have been like, oh, okay, I like this one. This one's a lot more like, like I said earlier, jumpy and upbeat and all that. It's nice.
Yeah,
it's the word is replayable. It's replayable. I could listen to the song 3-4 times in a row. Yeah, I like this one.
Dang,
that's a good song. Can't lie.
But yeah, I mean, it was also like so before this single, I had released an EP like around the beginning, around the beginning of quarantine. It's like because I'd already been like working before it and working on it before.
a few months ago. Yeah.
Actually, no, I think it was like May. Just around that time, man. It's forever now. But
it has been a while.
Yeah, but I had gone from using this DAW called Cakewalk.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah, and at first it seemed so good. Like I liked it. It was really intuitive because before I'd used FL before, and it was just super unintuitive to me. At first it's really hard to understand. But with this new one, with Cakewalk, I don't know. It's just me. It just made more sense. Like to me, it felt like it functioned how a DAW should. But after I finished doing my EP, which was like 6 songs or so, I was really unsatisfied with like the result. I was like, wait a second, because I know there's this sort of like rush you get when you're like releasing something. You're like, oh, is it like?
Is it ready yet?
Yeah, is it ready? Like, I guess
this is it.
Yeah. This is it moment. Exactly. Like, well, I guess this is what I'm releasing. And then like now that I reflect back, I'm like, crap, this is like I just personally wasn't proud of it. And so I like as a grad present got FL Studio, the producer version, and watching YouTube videos and learn by ear.
And that's a good way to learn too. Just looking at YouTube videos. I remember for the longest time when I first started, I was just on my new DAW. I was messing around with everything. I was figuring out all these different like options for different like let's say plugins for plugins, right? And I realized, this seems rather simple? Did I really make that big of a jump from, my old DAW to this one? And then I looked up on YouTube, like some tutorials on just that specific like plugin, right? And I realized, oh, there's a lot more to this than I thought. There was actually a tab right here I didn't even know existed, and that opens up what I wanted. It's like, oh, okay. It's a lot of searching, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Not only when it comes to making music, but like even down to the finer things. You gotta like look around and see what you like.
Yeah, like whenever you do a synth, you got the step editors and all that, but you can choose the actual synth, because the synth programs is not just one type. There's many presets, and I just got around to just tweaking with the presets now. The individual ones, because synths are just super cool to me, because in the end they're just like electrical signals, right, that are just manipulated to create this kind of
sound a certain way.
Yeah. And there's all these like different things you can do to them, and the part where I really like experimented, I guess, with it would be the bridge, sort of like the slowdown during the CRACKPOT, when I go into the three voices and all that. That's what
you can hear them out of the both ears, I think.
Yeah, for the voices. But I didn't have a bass in before that, but after a while I was just like, dang, I need a bass down here, and so I loaded up the old I think it was like Citrus on FL Studio, and went with this kind of like distortion-y type bass, and but I don't know, just like shaved off the high end and this and that, add distortion, and just kind of like mess around with a synth for once.
Quick little question: are you more of a, would you say, digital instrument type, or more like a plugin type guy? Because I know a lot of people, they'll just like to use the standard ones you have in there with all the different boards you can have and the different options on the keys, that you can like digitally program everything. Are you more into that, or more into playing it yourself for the most part?
It depends. Like, for me, it's always good to like just get good at both, and like for I think you're talking about like are you talking about like internal recording versus like step editing type thing?
Are you more into like digitally? What I asked was, are you more into like digitally, like having the sounds there and using like the preset, like?
I see what you mean now. Like sampling, I don't do a lot of. I think the only sort of sampling I ever did was for my EP, and that was like for the drums, like the samples that came with the plugin. Like if that's what you're talking about. Yeah, that I did, and it worked. But like, no, for the most part, I like doing everything myself. Just because like I feel like every song has its own unique like needs and wants, and I don't know. I'm just like really particular about what each part would sound like.
See, that's what I like about your music, because you also like, you do all your own stuff, for the most part you do all your own stuff, and it's so nice because I've been over when you're creating all this stuff, or when you're working on it and you're writing it and all that stuff, and it's so interesting because I'll see you with your guitar or your bass, you'll be playing it, and then you'll stop for a second, you'll look up into like the air, and then be like, hold up, let me try this, and you just try something else, and then you look down again, and then you try something else, and then, ooh, I see you. Like, you got like a little light bulb over your head, and then you're messing with something else, and then eventually you got like a whole song, and it's such a cool process to watch,
Yeah, I mean, thanks. Yeah, it's definitely like that. Like a lot of trial and error type things. Like, just like, because sometimes for me it can be as like, just like, oh, I want to do this in this part, like I and honestly, that's all songwriting is, I just want it to sound like this, like for the like I keep going back to the bridge of my newest song, the Line Crackpot, but it the bass drum and the snare, I had it like in this sort of, I don't know what to call it, the style, but it was sort of like this. Honestly, like in a way, that whole bridge is almost like a breakdown because of it. It slows down and like
and then it picks up again at the end of the bridge there. And I love hearing that in music. I love hearing that. I love watching just the song just slowly, like, I guess, implode on itself and then re-pick itself back up. I think it's such a cool, neat effect.
Yeah, and it's also just like a good like recycling, as I thought of it. But well, because before when I write music and whatnot, I'd always think like, oh man, like I'd make these weird rules for myself that I pick up from just like I guess like my main influences, which I guess would be a lot of like pop punk, like Fall Out Boy, and all that stuff that I was listening to when I was 13. Because a lot of that, like structure wise and whatnot, still influences my music. And for me, it's always like I always want something different for a bridge or whatever. But now it's just like it's almost like the style now is to have less of variation within structure, but just like or less but more variation for those sections. Like I was just listening to Stupid Horse by 100 Gex. I'm talking about them. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. But like I was just like, wait, this is literally just the chorus. Like I bet my money on Stupid Horse, like that whole thing, like just over and over, just with different kind of beats. I was like, it wasn't what the Fall Out Boys and all that I was listening to were doing, but it's what they're doing now, and it's also cool. It sounds just as good. And that's the approach I went for. That kind of like slow it down.
For sure. And I think someone that does that really cool is, do you know Dance Gavin Dance?
Yes, I've always heard about them. I've heard
they're good.
Yeah. Yeah, they're great.
Something that Dance Gavin Dance does, and I love the way they do it, is near like halfway or like 3/4 of the way through their song, they kind of break it down a little bit, and then it changes into something else. And it's not even like I'd say like a bridge. I'd say it's like a whole change, and it's really cool because it's like they have two different songs and they just mashed them together, and then they put some duct tape on it and they just called it a day. But I like that. I like that.
Oh, for sure. That's really like, and like, I sort of like it was sort of cool to see like the slow, I guess, trended that through this sort of like alternative and post-hardcore and emo type, like that whole general landscape. Because I remember seeing it like early with like Green Day and American Idiot with songs like Jesus of Suburbia and like later on you see with like Dance Gavin Dance, as you said, and then also with Falling in Reverse. Ronnie, like one of their newest songs, Popular Monster, is just insane. Like
that's a good song.
Man's flexes. Though I gotta say, has a spotty reputation, but goes off.
It's a good song because it starts off kind of. I showed it to a friend and he's like, "Is this rap?" He was very confused as to what this was.
Yeah,
and it picked up, and then it gets into the second part, and the guitars kick in, and everything else kick in, and the drums start going hard, and it just turns into almost kind of like metal, and it's like, oh, okay, I did not see this coming, but what a change.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I feel like he was probably the first vocalist in that genre to start rapping and be taken seriously. Because I remember like the first song I heard, actually let me look it up. The internet is amazing like that. Ooh, I think it was Champion.
The power of the internet.
I believe it's called Champion by Falling in Reverse. I think that's the first one to rap. Yes. But yeah, that was back in 2013. And there's this weird like this callback that happens a lot to like older type of music, and I feel like right now a lot of the stuff that's coming out just sounds like the new metal from way back when, like the rap rock type whole deal. Because I feel like a lot of like the people who are coming out now sound exactly like those new metal bands that were trying way back in the early 2000s and floundering. So it's really cool to see that whole like comeback.
It's always nice to see cycles in music. It is. So that's something we talked about last time as well. Cycles in music, you know.
Yeah, it's all about them circles, BB.
Shout out to trigonometry for triangles.
Why triangles? You're talking about circles here, bro.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't too good at math.
Yeah, who needs it anyway?
So I did the math and so did the school, though. What is your plan for? I don't know if you've discussed this yet, but for college.
Oh,
You're gonna be going off soon.
Yeah, I sure am.
Big man in a big world.
Yeah, as I said on, well, I'm recording this today, but it will be yesterday's show because I'm on the Dick and Skippy morning show sharing that. I always like being on it. It's really, I like talking about them. And yeah, but on that show, like I'd already said that, yeah, I'm moving soon off to good old Indiana. The cornfields await me.
You living off to be a farmer life, I guess.
Yeah, farmer. Yeah, the musician farmer. But yeah, I don't think I've ever said it, but yeah, I'm going to study audio engineering technology. So that's why I've been doing this here internship, because I like sounds and stuff.
Because sounds and ears,
You know, it's crazy. Exactly.
Vibrations, you know. Ooh,
so wild. It literally is like, I don't know why. Just something as simple as like a wave is just like, ooh. You know?
And there's a whole lot of science behind it. Like people just listen to stuff, you know, and they're like, oh, you know, this sounds pretty simple. But if we think about it in like a way grander scale, and I'm thinking like way grander, you know, your ears use like sound waves and stuff, and sound waves aren't like per se objects, they're vibrations.
Yeah, it's just,
and you know,
pressure and air.
And that's the coolest thing about that, because there's a lot more than you would think to hearing than there is. You know, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if in your school they'll be talking about it, but in some music schools, you know, they have like a whole unit dedicated to like basically ears.
Oh yeah,
like
oral training. Yeah, actually, even in like in high school, I took AP Music Theory, and oh my god, that was the hardest part. But yeah, like, a lot of it was oral training. So it was like harmonic and melodic dictation. So it'd be like 8 measures of, you know, chords or 8 measures of melody, and you'd have to transcribe it note for note. Or in the case of the chords, you'd only have to do the bass note and the soprano, and then also like just fill out what the actual chord was. And it was just painful. Like,
sounds painful, but it sounds like a good skill to have. You know, really to be able to hear something and transcribe it. I know a whole lot of people that can do it. I myself can't, but it's a worthwhile skill.
It's definitely something that comes with time. Just really, because for me, my problem with it is that I'm getting better at it to just do it in my head and be able to just like think of music and, you know, pick it apart. But for the most part, like it used to be just really easy for me to do on guitar. So like, you know, it was just easier for me to pick out melodies on there. But, you know, it's kind of like it creates a middleman in the sense, because then I like transcribe what I'm doing on the fretboard too, you know, because in the end it's all about like hearing something and writing it down so that other people can read what you like heard.
And that reminds me, you remember in choir when we used to do sight reading, right?
Yeah.
You remember that? I remember I wasn't very good at it, but I remember you were always leading. Like I look at our tenor 2 section, and you were like above and behind me, right? So I could look up a little bit and be like, okay, that's the note I'm on. Because you were always on it. You were on spot. You know, you knew what you were doing. That was, you know, you were looking at the board, and that ability to just see that and have it on the spot. And then, I mean, that's at a much simpler level, but nonetheless, you know, it's like, it's a good skill to have.
It's definitely like probably the best skill I've gotten from choir. Honestly, it's just my overall oral abilities, because while like transcribing stuff is really hard for me, I still can, you know, like I like
still figure it out. Yeah.
Like even right now when I'm like actually like transcribing things in my head, I'm thinking in like choir stuff. There's like so funny to like, you know, like all that stuff, because it's just so ingrained in me. And yeah, it's really cool that, you know, I was able to felt that through it.
It's a great skill.
Which I'm also thankful for. But yeah.
And you know what? I know you're gonna do great. Like,
Shucks.
nah, I'm serious, man. Because you got all this music stuff that you already know. You got the basics down, that's for sure, right? And I know you got the playing down because you can play like a king. I know you can do that. You got all the visual, all the mental. You know, like you got all. You can look at a piece of paper and know what's on it. You know, you can. And the biggest thing is, you already have experience with like software and all that stuff. And if you're going into that field, you basically, it's kind of like having a triple threat, you know, in theater, for example. You know, you can dance, you can sing, and you can record a, say, for example, you know, for like an audio engineer. You know, you got it all.
Oh, dang.
And I know you're going to do well.
Dang.
For
Just
sure.
turning into like a fluff piece. Oh my god. No, I am with compliments, but thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean, yeah, that's like this whole like this I guess, you know, big old chapter that awaits me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a really big split between like far from home, but
Mm-hmm.
like yeah.
It's weird. Well. We're all gonna be doing our own things in a few months, and that's something that I hadn't thought of beforehand. But
yeah, I know, it's so weird. And already, just like, yeah.
Earlier today, I was sitting on my Xbox, right, looking through my friends list, and I was like, wait, I remember I used to talk to all these guys. They're in like college now. Oh, hold up, I'm about to be in college now too. Wait, what's going on? Like, even my real life friends that I know that are like 3 or 4 houses away right now, they're not gonna be there in like 2 weeks. I'm like, dang, man, dang, that sucks. But yeah. I mean, it's another chapter.
Yeah,
and we gotta be ready for it. And I'm pumped for it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's always important. You gotta stay pumped for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a whole you know.
Mm-hmm. Trash can truck is
sponsored by Trashco.
Sponsored by Trashco.
Y'all ever need your corporate trash needs, hit me up.
So talking about the future, I say, or let's say, what are your plans for, you know, for more music and stuff? Because I definitely want to hear more of you, for sure.
Well, usually when I do something, I'm kind of like not burnt out, but I just kind of like need time to like kind of like reassess, you know, with some things floating around. I plans to work with a friend on a song.
Okay.
I haven't done that in a while, and I also just when I go up to college, it'd be cool to just meet the different people there, because although Purdue isn't like there's no music school or anything, there's still like, you know, community people there. Especially like the people I've been talking to within my major, they're really cool and it's music, and so.
Do you still have that consideration of being in a band someday? Because you could find some. I mean, you know, you're going into college and there's a ton of dudes there. You know,
a
ton
honestly,
of people there that could, you know.
I've already been talking to people and whatnot. So, well, you know, we'll see. It's just always been a thing for me to want to be in a band, but yeah, I don't know. It's been rather difficult, but oh well.
I remember in high school you had a band for a little bit, maybe for a little bit. do you mind telling us about that?
Oh, brother, there's like 50 of them I had like for like a fat second. I guess the most successful one was probably me and Will's, like Manel, because he's the only one who has actually like who I've played an actual gig with. And even that was just like an open mic at Trilogy, or I think it was back then. It was still Blue Giraffe. Bad Old Town's playing.
Shout out to them, dude. Great place.
Yeah, we always play live shows there. But yeah.
And he plays drums, right?
Yeah. Will would be on drums, and I'd be on guitar and vocals. And we went through some names. I think at one point they wanted to call us like Tortuga, or like Will would say, I don't know, he always had like, sorry, but they're like dumb names. But eventually, like, we settled on like Late Night Ride. I think that was our most like, I don't know. It just sounded like the perfect.
That sounds cool. Yeah,
yeah, like the perfect sophomore high school band name. Late Night Ride. Right there. Like heck yeah.
This is Late Night Ride, and here's our new song. 1, 2, 3, 4.
But literally, like, imagine this. Like, we show up to like a freaking coffee shop, and we lug in like all this gear, an entire drum set, and we play. And I mean, we did play good. It was what it was. I think it was like, I think here's my mess up when it comes to like set lists that I learned, and it's that to just keep it, mostly originals and less covers. But you're at that insecure age, and so I'm like, no, I got to do more, covers. But yeah, and of course, you got the classics, the beginner band type beats like Blink-182's all the small things and It's Time by Imagine Dragon. But it was still fun. We slapped. In the end, we slapped.
We are Late Night Ride, and here comes Seven Nation Army.
All right, now get ready for Smells Like Teen Spirit.
That was good. Here comes Thunderstruck.
All right, now Stairway to Heaven.
Stairway.
Oh my God, this starts sound like a School of Rock set list.
Stairway to Heaven is the number one of the top songs to play at a guitar store.
Oh yeah. And that never gets old. Yeah, I haven't been to a guitar store in forever, but I always loved that weird anxiety of playing anything.
Yeah, no, when I want to pick out my my ukulele and my guitar, I just kind of sat there awkwardly and I just played like a few chords and a few strings, and I was like, I like the sound of it. I wish I could, I wish that they had, what are they called? I know a lot of them do, but like back rooms, if that makes sense. Where you can go and just jam out for a bit, because it's hard to make a choice.
Yeah, for sure. I always see those with like more specialized types of like instrument, like I always see them for sure, like with like electrics, like especially when they have like the headphones right next to the amp so you can hear it and stuff. Yeah, it's always cool. But yeah, I like, at least it's electric then, so not everyone can hear you.
You plug in the amp, you raise it to full volume. All right, guys, here comes Stairway to Heaven.
And then there's an added tier to it when it's like a convention, like some sort of music convention, because I got to go to a music convention early this year, and you get there, like, not only are you kind of just like put on the spot when you're looking at things, but you're just kind of like, oh, these are people who know this stuff.
Yeah.
So all those fun little like things, but yeah, all in all, it's worth it to play the cool things.
And it's nice to test out new stuff. I remember every time I'd go to a guitar store, or just a general music store, I'd always just go to find like the weirdest instrument I could find.
Yes. Oh my God, that is my favorite. I was just about to bring that up, but yeah, like going to find the weirdest. Like, I remember I went to there's this used. It's like a instrument store / pawn shop off of I-45 called Cats.
Yeah.
And I was there once just looking at this stuff, and they had this. I think it's a Canadian instrument in the shape of like a leaf or something. I don't know. It was like really skinny and kind of like guitar. I just remember playing that, and just like, they just have a bunch of interesting stuff. They had that one ukulele that was in that Rob Scallon video, or in his Rob Scallon. I know for sure he used it in the Payback cover, ukulele cover of the Slayer song.
Like the original one?
No, it wasn't the original. No, it was just that type. Oh yeah, I haven't really. It's kind of like the that sort of zigzag shape that you find with like electric guitars.
Oh, but on a ukulele.
Yeah, basically.
Huh.
Yeah, it's super cool looking.
Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah.
I remember I went to one of those guitar stores and I found I think it's called the Sitar.
Really? Which one?
Yeah. It was okay, it's the one off of I-45. And I forget what it was. It was really tiny. It was a pawn store again. It was a pawn store type thing. I can't remember the name. It wasn't Cats, but I can't remember the name. I will tell you about it later, though. Either way, so I picked this little thing up. Well, it's not very little, first of all, but I pick it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this thing, and it's like, can I play this like a guitar? And I play it. It's a very different, setup.
Yeah.
But I'm like, huh? They used to play this thing like way back in the day, and it's such a cool little thing that it's. I myself couldn't play it, but I've seen people when you go to like the Renaissance fair, people will have it, and they'll be going out on it. And it's like the coolest instrument, I think it's super cool looking, super cool sounding too.
Like from my understanding of it, it's really like it's all about like the timbre and especially like the whole, like the I think it's called Carnatic music that like the Indian version of music theory and their traditional sense. It's has its own like different functions and needs, and like a really cool thing is that I heard about them is that they have like a lot of the strings there that are on the sitar are just there, like not just there, but like one of their functions is to resonate. Because like if you ever like if you look at a guitar or something, you just like if you play one of the strings, no matter what, you're still gonna intrinsically affect the other strings.
Yeah,
because they also like do that. And if you listen close enough, you can also hear the notes that are being produced by that. And so basically, the sitar has a bunch of those strings for that specific reason, to just be like vibrating alongside to give off the the extra
the fullness of it.
Yeah, the extra notes and that richer timbre, which is really cool.
Huh. Interesting.
I don't know why. Just stringed instruments, just oh.
So it's always nice to find you find those when you can find like an organ or something back there. I found one in Mexico in back of another, it wasn't a guitar store, but again another like music store.
Yeah.
And it was so cool. It was one of the ones it's not like like the church ones or whatever, the huge ones, but it was like a grand piano sized.
Yeah, that's cool.
But you play on them and it's like, whoa, this is cool. Like this is such a cool instrument. I don't know.
Yeah, like literally, like if I had I guess my bucket list type thing for me would be to play one of those like full like church organs. Like I'm talking like that, like possess the entire building cavity. Because those are just insanely intricate. Because basically, organs were the synths of their day.
Yeah, like, up on the organ.
Literally, I mean, well, like why do you think a bunch of like the first like organs were considered like there's like a lot of crossover between like the Moogs and the synths and organs and all that all that jazz, but yeah, like because a lot of the reason for the huge number of pipes that those church organs take up is because a lot of them play the same notes but just with different, if you want to think about it like this, like effects. There's and actually, there's this phrase. It's like pulling out all the stops on something, and that means like putting all the different kinds of stops, because those effects that I was talking about on organs are called stops. That's like putting them all on or out at the same time. But yeah, that's how you regulate it. It's like all different, just like, and it's all just like different types of tubes and pipes and stuff. It's crazy.
So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Another really cool instrument that I know you have is the banjo.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love the banjo so much. Because it's like the mono version of it. It's basically just like a drum, but with with strings on it, and I just love the timbre that it gives off. It's a lot of that. A lot of the what we perceive as like the integral sound of an instrument comes from its makeup, like what it's built out of, and what
it's made of.
Yeah, thus the banjo has such a unique and distinct sound that I just love so much.
Such a cool instrument. I remember that time I came over to your house and I brought my harmonica, and you pulled out the banjo and you made a good old tune, a classic.
Banjo harmonica jam.
The certified classic.
Certified classic, heck yeah. I mean, like, I just love this kind of like like almost just like an older style. You know, not to say that like nobody's using banjos or harmonicas nowadays, but you know, it's definitely associated with an older type of music.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I just, like I said, I always like that vintage sound.
Mm-hmm. You know, it'd be fun to do. Since you have a ukulele, and you have a banjo, and you have a harmonica, you should get the neck brace for the harmonica, and then you should record something with banjo and harmonica, and then put the uke on top, and then bam, you got a whole jam. You know,
that is a really interesting, like, I guess, like combination of instruments, because I would have never considered the banjo and the uke together.
You know, and it's always fun. That's what it comes back down to. It's always fun to mess around. You know.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You were just thinking about it.
That's the thing. I am still taking guitar lessons, and not too long ago, I was learning a song on the ukulele, and I realized, wait, it's in key of C. My harmonica is in key of C. Yo, what? So I recorded it, recorded the uke, and then I put some harmonica over it, and I was like, oh, okay, I like this. I do like this. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah, that's the thing with like them harmonicas; they're all tuned to one.
But like, too bad you can't retune them.
I've heard of ones that are like just have all 12 notes, you know. But I could only imagine
long harmonica.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why that just.
It's like you're holding a Subway sandwich at that point.
Like Lizzie harmonica.
The Glizzy.
Harmonica. Yeah,
it's rather cool.
It's also the harmonica is the only, I guess, wind-based instrument, because I know like woodwinds and brass, but you know, for me, just like this blowing-based instrument that I can play. Because holy crap, because that's where my cutoff is. Like any like stringed instruments, I'm okay, because they're basically all the same. You know, it's just like different tunings and
timbre and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, different sounds and occasionally maybe different techniques. You know, like bass but.
Bass and violin are very different, but
yeah, it's like the fingers on fretboard and all that jazz. But yeah, but no, like I don't know, just like trumpets and all that is just insanely hard, and just the techniques that they come up with. Like, have you ever heard of cyclical breathing?
Oh wait, I know what you're talking about. I have heard of it.
Yeah, it's super dope. Like, something like people like drum players and all that, they technique where they can like breathe, like they can basically exhale and inhale and inhale at the same time. That's a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
I'm scared of actually drinking any further because I might not have the best interpretation of it, but it's like, but basically it's just really really good for playing long passages and whatnot. And I don't know, that's just really cool to me that you can just circulate it like that. Crazy. I myself, like you, just like you, harmonica, that's the only like not woodwind, but like wind instrument that I can really put my hands around and figure out how to do. I know the trumpet, it seems really easy. Apparently it's really not. Oh, no, it's not. I mean, like for choir, this dude one year, he like for Secret Santa, he gave me an entire trumpet. Like I'm like because he used to be in band, it wasn't anymore. It's like, well, here you go. I'm like, oh, wow, that was crazy. Like I was so blown away. Like just So
okay, thank you.
Yeah, like man, thanks. Like yeah. I literally still can't get over that, like the fact that somebody just gave me an instrument, because they're. But anyway, yeah. So I've had it to try, and my gosh, it's because one of the like there's a certain like difficulty ranking that I associate with instruments, and the main factor for it will be just how easy it is to just replicate a sound on it. So for me, the easiest instrument is probably piano. Because in that aspect, because all you have to do is just press down on a key and there's a sound.
Yeah.
By no means am I saying that piano is easy. That's it's every instrument,
a very different thing. But
yeah. Every instrument is difficult, but in that sense, it's easier. But holy crap, trumpet by far to me is the hardest, because like, you know, you'll get it, you'll think you get it, you create this like godforsaken sound that just sounds like the trumpet just wants to be put out of misery.
Yeah.
And then maybe get like the tiniest croak of a pitch, and
Of an actual, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it's gone forever.
Exactly.
I remember my first time trying to put on trying to use the trumpet, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you just had to blow into it. I thought it was gonna be like a flute. You know?
Flutes aren't even like that. I don't think so.
Well, no, I'm thinking like a recorder. You know, I thought it was gonna be like a recorder. So I pick it up, put a finger down on the thing, and I just go, ooh. Nothing comes out of the other side. I'm like, where's the notes?
I remember that.
I just had no clue how it works.
Oh my god. Okay, I've been being nice enough to trumpet type players, but gosh, y'all need to take care of your spit problem. Holy crap! Like, I don't know, like is it too much to just carry like buckets around? Because I know that like there's an entire like most of those instruments have an entire part of it dedicated to spit called the spit valve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is just the nastiest thing ever to just see like they open up the spit valve just like right on the floor.
It's a ton of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's why I say like every band or any like trumpet player, or even like we should just start a business where we sell like tiny little buckets, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They keep on your belt. And so anytime you just spill it out, but
A little vial, maybe even.
perhaps.
It's all fun and games till you're at the splash zone of a band concert.
Oh my. SeaWorld all of a sudden, except not as much like animal abuse.
I mean, if you play really badly, it could sound like that.
What's the difference? No, for sure. But yeah, that is my tangent against band people.
I mean, every instrument's got its own finesse, and if you gotta like practice. You gotta practice, because
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Even just like.
For people that were in band, and I've heard from friends that were in band, and they get home and they do like 2 or 3 hours of practicing a day, and
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And thing is, those things are loud too. Because I remember my older brother for I think maybe a year, maybe 2 years, I'm not sure. He had a trombone, and he'd play it in the house. And it wasn't a very pleasing sound. Yeah, it was very loud and annoying. But it was practice makes perfect.
The worst thing is their summer rehearsals. That I always really feel for them. Because like I remember I used to go to like this friend's house, and he basically lived like right next to the school, and during the summer, you can hear the freaking the band people out there just in the 90 plus degrees.
Oh yeah, poor marching band.
Oh man,
poor marching band.
Don't let them hear you say that though, because they'll ride that pity train to no end.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any? It's like the TikToks,
yeah. You have an idea how hard I practice every day? Like, yeah, we do, but come on.
It is physically if not above, on par with football. Okay.
Powerlifters? Never heard of them.
Try holding a euphonium for the entire half crap. It's called halftime show, huh?
You see this tuba? Heavy.
You see, I gotta play both sides. I gotta be all like, "Ooh, poor babies," and hey, y'all suck. Because gotta be. That's the libertarian way. Bam.
But I mean, to be fair, it is that 95-degree Texas heat in the summer, and it is not a good thing, especially while holding an instrument in a very tight platform.
Get it. We've already given them the.
All right, that's enough. That was my last little. Just in case they're listening,
Put you in the slammer.
Tell us more about your new song, though. Come on, man. Let's give it to us. Come on, man. Ooh.
Ooh, okay. Let's see. Well, like I was saying earlier, there's that whole like older type sound I was going for, but that was specifically talking about the chorus. As for the verses, I tried something different guitar wise because I went for the more just like emo style of playing chords, which are the kind of like what I call open chords.
Mm-hmm.
That they're not fully filled out. You know, chords have the root, the third, the fifth, and so on and so forth. But you know, a lot of them you just see it's like the root and the third, and then an octave, and then maybe another one is classic root, minor third, minor seventh. Those kind of like finger shapes that you find a lot in older emo and more. I also say just recent, like I know modern baseball uses those kind of chords, so I just kind of like that bright, choppy sound that they provide. But yeah, and also just like the drums for that part, I almost basically killed the entire verse by having too much, because in the final product I now have the verse comes in with just a kick drum and then it builds up on it. But originally I just had it come out full like kick and snare and the cymbals and all this stuff. And you know, there's also that other aspect to music, which is like the design. You know, it's too busy, so too much going on and
too much noise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm glad you made good progress on it, though, and I'm glad it's coming out because you've been sending me snippets of it, and I'm excited for it.
Well, I guess that's the end of today's Artie's Kooky Music Party with my boy Oscar. Heck yeah. And I guess this will be the last one for now. I plan to continue them. Yeah, so also feel free to hit me up at Artie's Kooky Music Party at gmail.com if you want to, you know.
Yeah, so this is, I guess, my last Artie's Kooky Music Party at the studio for the summer, at least. I fully intend to come back next and continue working here. Thank you for listening to my show so far. Don't worry, this isn't a goodbye. I'll plan to do this remotely from all the way in Indiana and Purdue, but yeah, thanks for having me on air and all that jazz. And oh yeah, about my song, couldn't play it on here because I had a little naughty word in it, but yeah, for sure, check it out. I'll link it on when I upload to YouTube and SoundCloud and all that. So yeah, but that is the end of the show. So thank you for listening, and goodbye.